not really going to change it. This guy's going to build another cottage so we can get this economy up and running in Poverty Point as quickly as possible. And we can use the slavery mechanics for this city. We're not going to be able to grow to 4 population to whip 2, so we'll only be able to whip 1. That means the library needs to get to 60 out of 90 as soon as possible. We're going to chop this forest and come back and see how quickly we can get to 60 out of 90. Which actually, since we're just growing now, we're at 2 population, we don't need to grow anymore. We could probably just go ahead and max out on hammers right now. See, that's the kind of thing that understanding slavery mechanics will allow you to shave a couple turns off of building something like the library. In our particular case, we're going to get it out the 3rd turn from now, simply because we moved to a bit more production. So it's pretty nice for us. I'm going to come over here and start getting some farms up and running, because Mound City will need some growth to work those, these gold tiles. Looks like we're at 4 hammers, so I can actually go to a 3 hammer configuration here. Once the library gets to 60 out of 90, we can whip it. So, gonna keep chopping. I just want to get stuff out as quickly as possible for Cahokia. And we'll be able to turn research on probably in 2 turns here, because that's when the libraries will get built. So you can see, I actually should have showed you guys there, but we hurried 2 population, and we got an extra 60 hammers out of that, and we got some overflow. So the slavery mechanics worked out for Poverty Point. Willem Van Orange, he's going to be one of our buddies, so we're going to open borders with him. Got the library up and running here. We're going to go with a granary so that we can whip stuff as quickly as possible in Poverty Point. I feel like we have enough defense there for now. And now, so we'll go ahead and look at this city. It says Hurry Library, costs 1 population. 2 divided by 1 is 1. Round that down, that's 1, so that works out. We have 60 out of 90 for the library. We get 30 hammers for every population, so that also works out. That means we're just there at the threshold of being able to whip the library. So that worked out for us, and we'll be able to come and work this food-heavy tile, and the borders will pop a little bit sooner because we got that library out. We probably won't be whipping Cahokia simply because we get a lot of hammers out of it already, and it just doesn't have a lot of growth. So I'm going to steer clear of whipping. And now that we've got 2 libraries out, it probably makes more sense for us to turn our research back on. And we'll be able to get our ironworking done pretty quickly here. We will probably actually end up working some scientists once we grow in Poverty Point. This is because we want to leverage the philosophical trait. We'll talk about that as soon as that happens. This guy will come down here and help Cahokia out just a little bit. Hopefully this archer decides to attack us, because if it doesn't, we're going to have to be led on a wild goose chase trying to take care of it before it runs amok on Cahokia land. We've got our second out. We have the cottage up and running, but we're going to go ahead and work as scientists. This is to leverage the philosophical trait. We get a plus 100% bonus to our great people person rate, and that means our great person will come out in 17 turns as opposed to 33. Or 34 actually, so that's going to be pretty good for us, and once we grow again we'll probably add another scientist to this mix. The question is, does it make sense to actually work the growth tile? We actually grow in 5 turns there, so that means actually it might make sense to grow first because we're actually working this cottage for a bit, and then once we grow to 4, Hopefully the unhappiness will have worn off by then. We'll have an extra turn of 1 happiness, but then we'll have 4 people. We'll be able to run 2 great scientists, and we'll actually, I think, get the special great scientist out a little bit more quickly if we grow first. Now, we do need some growth in Cahokia, so I'm going to go ahead and farm the spices tile. We're going to need to build a plantation over that, but at least we get to work a 2 commerce, 3 food tile as opposed to a 1 commerce, 3 food tile, and that'll just give us a small benefit there. So, now ironworking is going to come in 5 turns. That will probably provide a good stopping point for us because we'll be able to see if we can actually get some swordsmen online, and that will help us decide whether or not we want to go to a warmonger route or if we want to actually go for the peaceful building route. So that'll definitely help us make that decision. So we'll probably take a break when ironworking gets researched. Library's done here. We're going to get another dog soldier because we still have a lot of terrain to the south that we need to ensure is protected. We'll go ahead and build this farm here, and we'll start with a growth tile here, so that we start getting Cahokia up to a higher population count. Looks like there's a city really close to that gems, and since Willem van Orange is creative, that's going to be a problem for us. So we'll have to talk about how to deal with that during the next segment. And we can get our first gold tile online. That's going to give us all a bit of happiness, and we're going to have some pretty good economy output from that tile. So that will help us out quite a bit. Looks like the dog soldier's out here. We'll go to the granary to improve the growth because Cahokia's got bad growth prospects. And we can go ahead and fog bust the last part of this peninsula. So that's working for us. This guy's actually going to continue to farm so we get some growth tiles near Mound City. This is going to get the gold online. And we have granaries up and running. Pretty builder friendly kind of improvement so far. That's basically because we want to wait for ironworking. And we'll go ahead and continue chopping because Cahokia's got the forest to spare. So, and here's ironworking. It's a big turn here. See if we get some iron. And I think, yeah, we have some ironworking right there. So we'll go ahead and take animal husbandry as our lovely filler tech that we always do. We've got some iron right next to Cahokia, so that opens up the possibility of going to war. And that might be something we have to do because we're getting a lot of pressure from Willem van Orange right now. So overall, we've got 3 pretty decent cities. We've got them in a pretty decent setup for growth and research. Our research is coming out pretty nicely, and we'll have a lot to talk about on our next segment. So again, this is Tanoy Sinha. This is a Civ 4 playthrough. Signing off. We'll see you guys in just a bit.